Good morning to you all on this fairly nice outside on a Sunday morning. Just a quick reminder, those that it concerns, and then anyone who wishes to take part. There's Andy's Shed has his talk today at 6:30, just to remind everyone. That's on at 6:30. I shall look forward to that. He's possibly going to be talking about the 300 type telephone. Not 100% sure, but I think that's what he might be talking about. His talk's always worth listening to. There's much good information there. Tips on preserving or cleaning the Bakelite or plastic, and they're very worth listening to. Anyhow, let's get back to what I'm talking today. I thought I'd have a look at one of my phones from Czechoslovakia. Let's give a close-up of it. Now, that name Stropkov is not the type of phone. Stropkov, I believe, was the town where Tesla set up his telephone manufacturing concern. Typical trademark with the Tesla trademark there, which depicts one of his inventions in America of a gigantic radio transmitter. Very clever person, actually. He made Edison look a bit silly. But anyhow, enough of the history. I will say that he died virtually a peasant on his own in a hotel in New York. But anyhow, enough of that. Here's what is on this little nameplate. You've got type. Now, whether this actually refers to this one, I don't know. Looks like it's 85 or... There's definitely a number there, but it's not very clear. Was it 3S? Your guess is probably as good as mine. No, it could be 8. Looking at it through my camera, it looks like 8S20. Well, I've had a look at some other of these model phones that are on eBay, and the number there is always different, so you take your choice. The other numbers on there, TA32, that I would say could well be the model number. It's definitely TA. It looks like TA32. The date there, it's quite a modern one actually. It looks like 1984. Yep, 1984. Made in Czechoslovakia, which that country goes under a different name now. Don't ask me what. Geography as regards these newer countries is not very good, which shows itself up when there's a quiz on TV, because I never know the answers. Anyhow, that's the underside of this telephone. So Stropkov is the town, not the model number. I think this is quite a popular phone at one time. Let's try and turn it back without doing any damage. I keep saying I also had another pair of hands to be able to do this. Here I took the dial off. You can see the printed circuit board, very nicely laid out. In fact, I'd give top marks for the quality, the build quality of this little telephone is very, very good. I know it's plastic, but this was the norm at certain times. Your capacitors are typical Tesla type, which, as you can see there, they crack. So if they do play up, I would suggest changing those for the more modern type. The rest of it seems perfectly well made. They use these little press-on connectors. Those are the connectors that go to the dial, and the yellow ones go to the bell coil. It looks like the bell coil is, you can see, like that. What's that one? I wish my eyes were a bit better. It looks like 1350 ohms. So, yeah, it's quite high impedance. The bell itself is very cleverly made. It's not too elaborate, but it's well made. I had to adjust it. I'll adjust it again. Don't know why, but originally I made it ting. So the adjuster, which is this part down here, is on like a raisable stud, if you like. And as you twist the knob at the back, you lift that little lever up and it goes across the hammer and prevents the bell from ringing. Oh. Now, I don't know what I'm doing. It's something I'm doing wrong, but I have adjusted the bells and they do give that nice characteristic ting. Well, they did, so I might have to readjust that again, but not to worry. That's the bell. You've got your induction coil there, anti-side tone. They're very small now. You've got the Tesla name on there as well. Tube, is it something? Yeah. Probably that's the town. Anyhow, as I say, I took the dial off so we can have a little look at that. This is the typical front of the dial with a typical finger stop that you often find on Czechoslovakian phones. Looking at the dial, you think, what quality is it? Well, I haven't taken the cover off. It's a bit fiddly, so I've left the cover on. But you can immediately see, operate that, it's a very well made dial. Okay, it's a bit plasticky in places, but it's based on the Siemens Husky type of dial, which we've seen on several of our phones. A design which is quite good, by the way, and it's one that, once again, you send out 3 pulses to get the dial up to speed, but it'll only send 1, so that's if you're sending a pulse of 1. There are probably 3 that it'll send, but it'll only send the 1, so the dial gets up to speed. And you've also got a lever in there, so we can see it. That lever bending forward and moving there. When the dial comes to an end, that comes in and stops the pulse wheel there. So yeah, a well-designed dial based on the Siemens dial. Funny enough, I've got one of the other Siemens phones that got a very similar dial. They seem to be quite effective and do a good job. Now that's the dial, and it just slots into the 2 levers, 2 little pieces there. So that would just slot in like so. So it's quite easy to take out and fix and probably exchange because all the connections are on little flat press-on pins, or not really a spade terminal. They're a push-on connector, same as the leads to the handset, and likewise the leads to the, oh no, this is the handset. No, I'm right in the first place. The leads to the line, which I rolled up there. And also, you can see the type of plug they used. Anyhow, leaving the telephone part, let's have a little look at the handset. As I said, these are well-designed phone. The handset is very similar to the American handsets. Very similar, obviously based on that. There is your receiver. Your name on there, Tesla. It's got the homage of it. I don't know if any of those are a date. I can't see it. I think that's 4th of February. So I'm not too sure, but it doesn't. It's not what I call a date though, unless it was. No, I don't know. As far as I can see, there's not a date on there. On the rear side of it, we've got a nice screw fixing. Well, the screw fixing, and it also goes to these slide type connectors. Once again, for quick release. Well made again. The transmitter is the typical type you would see on a lot of European phones. Once again, with the Tesla name. In fact, they've both got Tesla name on them. Got the type there as well. Well, that's a year code, I don't know. But this is the insert that goes into that part there. And your two caps that screw on, which is the same colour as the phone itself. So it's ivory and blue. Having a look at the case before I show you the diagram. That's obviously the colour. Ivory, white, call it what you like, but it's definitely white. Turn him over, it's more like cream. So this just shows you what the sunlight will do. It will change the colour. But as I have always said, to my mind, this is patina. And okay, it probably could be cleaned if you wanted to. I'm afraid, in my opinion, life's too blooming short to worry about polishing it up so it looks white again. You're probably going to have quite a job to do that. To my opinion, it's better to say it's old. I think yes, I did go through the age. It's not ancient, but it wasn't made yesterday. So it's a few years old. And okay, yes, you've got the discoloration, and also on the handset as well. But that is age, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. So there's your in perfect condition. You've got a number there as well. I don't know what that refers to. It's obviously the type of... this particular model seems to be quite a popular one because there's several of these on eBay. So it's obviously one which was used quite a lot in Czechoslovakia. I took a print of the diagram. Was very nicely folded up and placed in the works, which is nice. It means you've got a circuit diagram. It was, in fact, I think it was in there. When I opened the phone up, to greet me was the diagram. So to make it easier, I put it on the photocopier, and there's what we've got. That is the actual diagram, so I'll put it on there, so look at that. If anyone wants to work on this diagram, will help anyone, there's the diagram. It's basically the same, although on my one there's a couple of terminations that are not on this one but are shown on the diagram, so they may be for an earth button or something like that, but all the other ones are there, and it is nicely made. And a close-up of part of that, if you do it in sections, so if you particularly want to look at a particular circuit or want to know the circuit number or the resistance, doing it like this, you've got a chance. You can always halt the video and write down what you need. This obviously, where is it? That there I think refers to the dial, because those terminations are the ones that go to the dial. And there's the other part. So that's your diagram, which if you're faulting on one of these phones, they're essential. They really are. Well, that I think is more or less it. I'm hoping, I won't say where this phone's coming from, but in the post I've got another telephone which I picked up off of eBay. It was a reasonably priced one. It is a foreign phone, and as it was over here, the postage was not a stupid price. Often the postage on these phones are more than the phone itself, which ever since we left the EU, which in my opinion was a very silly thing for us to do, but we've done it, everything shot up, particularly postage on stuff, and costs have become very high. But this one, I say, was owned by not a collector. He had it over here, and I'll tell you more about it when I get it. It was a case of being a detective to find out where it came from and what it was. So I'll talk about that when it arrives. It's in the post at the moment. It may arrive tomorrow, but I doubt it because it's a bank holiday tomorrow. But when it does, we'll have a little talk about it. I'm just hoping it's going to work. I say work. It was working, but the seller said when he tried it 10 years after storage, it didn't seem to work. So hopefully it shouldn't be too much. Anyhow, I'm going to shut up now because I know you don't want to hear me talking all day. And just a little sort of recap on the phone. Nice little instrument. Funny enough, I've never used this one or never tried it out. I imagine it would work. I'm going to have another look at that bell. I don't know, it should be okay. It's probably because I'm trying to operate it with one hand, which holding a camera and trying to do things with the other hand is at times a bit tricky. Anyhow, I'm going to shut up now. Enjoy the rest of the day. It looks like the weather's going to be not too bad. This at least in the London area. I don't know what it's like the rest of the country. But in London it's not too bad. And that's more or less it. So once again, thanks for watching. Thank you.